Long before fire fell from the sky, before a prophet stood alone against a nation, Israel entered one of its darkest hours. This is the story of Elijah, a man chosen by God, a voice of truth in a time of deception, and the moment heaven itself answered by fire. The land of Israel was no longer what it once was. Though the people still spoke the name of the Lord, their hearts had turned elsewhere. A new king ruled the land, King Ahab, and with him came a darkness unlike anything before. Ahab married Jezebel, a foreign queen devoted to Baal, a false god believed to control rain, storms, and fertility. Under her influence, altars to Baal were raised throughout Israel, and golden idols stood where the altar of the Lord once stood. The prophets of God were hunted down and killed, while others fled into caves, hiding for their lives. Israel tried to serve two gods, but the Lord would not share his glory. Without warning, without background, without explanation, a man appeared. His name was Elijah, meaning, "The Lord is my God." He stood before King Ahab and spoke words that would shake the nation. He declared that there would be no dew and no rain except by his word. In that moment, Elijah directly challenged Baal, the so-called god of rain, and suddenly the skies closed. Days passed, then weeks, then months, and finally years. No rain fell, rivers dried up, crops withered, animals collapsed in the fields. The people cried out, but Baal remained silent. Israel slowly learned a painful truth. The God they trusted could not save them. While the land suffered, God protected his servant. Elijah was hidden by a brook in the wilderness, where ravens brought him bread and meat each morning and evening. When the brook dried up, God sent Elijah to a widow in a foreign land called Zarephath. She had only a handful of flour and a little oil, enough for one final meal before death. But Elijah told her not to fear. The jar of flour did not run out, and the oil did not fail. When her son later died, Elijah cried out to God, and life returned to the child. God was proving that he alone controlled life, provision, and power. After 3.5 years of drought, God spoke again and told Elijah to show himself to Ahab. Elijah confronted the king and proposed a challenge that would decide everything. He demanded that all Israel gather on Mount Carmel, along with the prophets of Baal. 850 false prophets assembled, while Elijah stood alone. He spoke to the people and asked how long they would waver between two opinions. If the Lord was God, they should follow him. If Baal was God, they should follow him. Then Elijah declared the test. The God who answered by fire would be proven the true God. The prophets of Baal went first. From morning until noon, they cried out, danced, and shouted, begging Baal to answer. Nothing happened. There was no fire, no voice, no response. In desperation, they cut themselves until blood flowed, but still there was silence. Elijah mocked them, saying perhaps their God was sleeping, traveling, or too busy to answer. As the sun began to set, it became clear that Baal had failed completely. Then Elijah stepped forward. He repaired the broken altar of the Lord stone by stone, using 12 stones to represent the 12 tribes of Israel. He placed the sacrifice on the altar and ordered water to be poured over it, once, twice, 3 times, until the sacrifice, the wood, and even the trenches were soaked. There could be no doubt, no trickery, no human explanation. Then Elijah prayed, not loudly, not dramatically, but simply, asking that it be known that the Lord was God in Israel. Suddenly, fire fell from heaven. It consumed the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and even the water. The power of God shook the mountain. The people fell face down and cried out that the Lord alone was God. Heaven had answered. Elijah then climbed the mountain and prayed for rain. He sent his servant to look toward the sea again and again. On the seventh time, a small cloud appeared. Soon the sky grew dark, the wind rose, and heavy rain poured over the land. Life returned to Israel, and the drought ended. But the story did not end in celebration. Jezebel sent a message threatening Elijah's life. Fear overwhelmed him, and he fled into the wilderness. Exhausted and broken, Elijah collapsed under a tree and begged God to let him die. Even the strongest servants of God can feel alone. God led Elijah to Mount Horeb. There was a powerful wind, but God was not in the wind. There was an earthquake, but God was not in the earthquake. There was a fire, but God was not in the fire. Then came a gentle whisper, and Elijah listened. God reminded him that he was not alone and that his mission was not finished. Elijah later trained Elisha and passed on his mantle. One day, a chariot of fire appeared, and Elijah was taken up into heaven. He did not die. His mission was complete. Fire fell from heaven once to remind a nation who God truly is. And the question still remains today. If heaven were to answer now, who would we be serving?